Roll call, Ms. Clark.
Trustee Bertelson,
Here.
Trustee Black,
Here.
Trustee D,
Here.
Trustee Lucine,
Here.
Trustee Moran,
Here.
Trustee Neal,
Here.
Trustee Sandy Wilson,
Here.
Trustee Sarah Wilson.
Here.
All right, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. You guys jumping in right away? All right, tonight we have the GHS Camerata Orchestra. Is Chandra Lind here? All right, you got any words for us or just get going? All right, thank you guys for being here. Thank you very much. Do you guys want to come get this afterwards? I'm sorry. Do you want to get this stuff afterwards, or was it already here? We set it up for him. Oh, okay. All right. We'll get it afterwards. Perfect. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. Welcome to the November 10th Bozeman School District Board meeting. Thank you for joining us. Public comment will be taken throughout the meeting on agenda and non-agenda items. During public comment, no member of the public will be allowed to comment on contested cases, other adjudicative proceedings, or personal matters. The public portion of this meeting are being recorded in accordance with District Policy 420 and Section 2-3-214 MCA. By remaining in this meeting, all participants and attendees acknowledge that they may appear on the recording, which will be placed on the school district's website for a minimum of 1 year from today. Further instructions about participating will be provided throughout the meeting. Before we engage in the business of the board, I would like to share the core purpose of the Bozeman School District, which can be found on our back of our nameplates and to the wall to my left. It reads, Bozeman Public Schools exists to ensure high-level learning for all students. In honor of Veterans Day tomorrow, we would like to take a moment to honor those among us who have served the United States Armed Forces. If you are a veteran, we invite you to please stand, be recognized. We thank you for your service, your sacrifice, and commitment to our country. Your contributions are deeply appreciated by our community. Thank you, Pat. All right, we'll get going here. Bozeman School District experience, student representatives. Who's up first today?
right. Good evening. My name is Taylor Trudgeon, and I'm a student body president of Bozeman High School.
I'm Jenna, and I am the student body vice president.
Yeah. So our school's doing really well. When we talked to you guys last, it was before Halloween happened. And we got to decorate our whole school in Halloween decorations, which student council hasn't done before, at least in the past couple years. So we got to decorate, and I know that the school really appreciated that. And then we also had our teacher costume contest, which is always really exciting, and then our club fair. And then we also just funded our Model UN, who is going to go off to state. We get to fund a lot of our clubs, but we just like to make sure that they fundraise, and Model UN does a really good job at doing their own fundraising as well.
Okay. And then we're also very excited to go to the Mass Conference this next weekend on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And then so for update on sports stuff, it's our school. Football, their record was 6-5, and they lost to Glacier this last weekend, or last Friday. Our cross country, boys and girls, got state, or one got first at state. And then soccer, boys finished their season with an 11-4-2 record, and then girls soccer finished their season with a 9-5-4 record. And then our volleyball, this is our bye week because we are second at state, and our record is 26-3, and we have state this week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then for music stuff, we have our choir AA festival, which is happening today and tomorrow, which is a combination of a whole bunch of choirs. Gallatin, Belgrade, and Sentinel are all at our school, and we're playing the same music and singing the same stuff, and it's pretty fun. And then choir, their winter concert is December 18th. Orchestra, their winter concert is going to be December 11th, and band, their winter concert is going to be November 19th. And then for theater, we just had The Princess Bride played this past weekend and the weekend before, which went very well.
And then other clubs, we have our Turkey Bowl coming up, which is always really exciting. And then we have a thing called Operation Christmas Child going on right now, which is just boxes of gifts that get sent to countries in Africa and all around the world for kids who don't get gifts. So that's what our other clubs are up to. Yeah, thank you guys.
Gallatin?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ridge McGovern, and I'm the student body president at Gallatin.
I'm Logan Haynes, student body vice president.
As student council, we're getting ready to head to Great Falls for the Montana Association of Student Councils, where we will be spending 3 days and 2 nights learning from student councils all across the state. And then our theater program is in the upcoming weeks is performing Legally Blonde. Speech and debate had multiple first place finishes with the best turnout yet. And then key clubs from both Gallatin and Bozeman High are holding a crosstown competition where it's Can the Hawks or Can the Raptors. So it's a food drive. And in many of my classes, I've already seen multiple canned goods and have even donated some myself. And then HOSA hosted a blood drive where they collected 40 units of blood, which accounts for 120 people. And then DECA hosted a clothing drive where they had over 20,000 pieces of clothing, while majority got taken by families in need, and the rest were donated or sold.
All right, and then as far as sports goes, our boys soccer, they were state champions, so that was fun to see. I was there. Our girls soccer placed second place at state, and then our girls cross country also had second at state, and our boys did well too. And both our cross country teams are preparing for regionals coming up in Spokane soon. Our football team plays Glacier in the semifinals this Friday. That's going to be exciting as well. Volleyball has state this week. and our varsity is currently ranked number 1. And our freshman A and B teams, our sophomore and our JV teams all went undefeated this season. So that was fun. And then recently we had our Special Olympics state send-off, and we had kind of a fun event in our gym during prime time. They just played a little scrimmage, and we had tons of students show up. We had 2 different student sections going, supporting the Special Olympics players. It was a good time. That's what we got. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Hello, my name is Sarah Stanish. I am one of the Bridger Charter Academy representatives on Student Council.
My name is Rosie Cassava. I am the other Bridger Charter representative.
All right, so first off, we're gonna start with our full overview of mostly teachers and what they're doing to support students at the moment. So we are having our Bridger Thanksgiving, which it's an annual tradition, and it is on Tuesday afternoon on November 25th. So it'll be during blocks 3 and 4, and it's gonna be pretty similar to past years because it's a very traditional thing that we do at Bridger Charter Academy. And so we'll have an educational piece. This year we were changing it up a little bit with Serviceberry, which is a book written by the same author as who wrote Braiding Sweetgrass. So it's really good about learning about where your food comes from and all of that type of stuff. It's really interesting. And then we always have our gratitude piece, which just is how we like to be grateful to everyone around us in our community. And then we also have pie and cider, just for fun. And then we also have some community activities that we do with our whole Bridger Charter Academy. So we'll do card games or board games, or sometimes it'll be just fun activities like slideshows or whatever. Yeah, we'll draw on the table. We do a hand turkey drawing competition, which is really funny. And then at the moment with Hawk Times, our academic Hawk Times are they're going really well, and kids are really preparing super hard to meet the late work deadline of November 21st. And our community ones have also been very well attended. So just our fun ones. So our Bridger beautification, where we paint on the windows outside of our community room, and our board games, our brunch, and our Halloweens our Halloween celebrations have been very successful. And then our next brunch is gonna be on the 21st, which is gonna be hosted by me and Rosie, which will be really fun. And then we are working as a PLT with Joanna Burtkin to learn more about how to best support overall student well-being. So that's what the teachers are doing at the moment, which is really helpful, and it really widens their knowledge about how to help with trauma response and everything like that. It's really, really good especially for BCA people. And sometimes you guys ask how many people we have in Bridger Charter. At the moment, we have 133 students in our academy.
Yeah. From the student side of things, really quickly, I was actually just asked this question, and I blanked, and I just came up with it. On behalf of Hawks Theater Company, we want to invite you guys back in the spring. We're going to be doing Mamma Mia the musical, which is really fun. I was just asked about this, and I completely blanked, so I'm just adding that. From our BCA student view, currently we have a 12-week late work deadline that supports students with not having an overwhelming amount of work. Missing work is more current, and that is a more present feeling. In the past, the late work deadline has been the semester end, which means that work can really pile up and get overwhelming. So they're trying to bring that back to hopefully really take off that pressure. And I feel like it has been I've really been seeing that it's taking a lot of this pressure off. Consistent emphasis and support is always still available for students if this deadline is maybe still overwhelming or they just need that additional support. BCA teachers have been working really hard. I've noticed in my classes, just at the end of classes, as a quick tidbit, to really make sure that students are connected with proper access to resources with everything that's going on in our political reality right now, especially with SNAP and everything like that. Our teachers have really been working hard to make sure that each and every student is connected and make sure that they have food resources throughout the weekend, which is just wonderful. Me personally, I have a first period every other day, free first period, and I love to go to the BCA community room. And something that I personally have been noticing from the beginning of school to now is at the beginning of the school year, my free first periods would just be silent in the community room. And I've noticed that students have really been coming in for support from Sarah Powell, Artie Jenkinson and all of their teachers. I've been noticing that like while I'm doing my work, people are coming in much more frequently for additional support. So people are definitely getting more comfortable with our teachers. And students are building like a community with each other, particularly the freshmen and new students to BCA. Freshmen, you're still kind of finding your friends, and we've noticed like strong friendships are really occurring. And a lot of the times, sophomores often have a large like fluctuation in our BCA numbers, or we have a large increase with sophomores. And so students who are new to BCA are really starting to like find those connections. And we've all just kind of been seeing that, which is awesome.
Thank you guys very much. Are there any comments or questions from the trustees? Gary?
Thank you all very much for all your leadership and reports. I have two questions. One is just to clarify, does Bridger Charter Academy have representatives going to the student council meeting next week?
Yes, Rosie and I are both going to, are you talking about Mask? Yes, we're both going to Mask.
Good,
So.
thank you. So I'm curious from all of you, what are the hot topics that will be discussed at your meeting next week?
Yeah, so BCA, they meet with us at our meetings, so they don't have separate student council meetings. So they're part of Bozeman High Student Council, and then they also go with us to MASC, which is Montana Association of Student Council. I think we referred to it as MASC, and they referred to it as the proper name, so same thing. We're all going to leave on Sunday, but we mostly discuss issues within the state of how can we enforce things better, what has worked, what has not worked. Parliamentary procedure is what we use there, and a lot of student councils don't enforce that, so it's really good practice and learning opportunity of how to enforce that in your student council meetings. They might want to touch on that too a little bit.
Yeah, I went last year and it was super fun. You learn from a lot of different people. There was an Olympic gold medalist last year that we got to learn a lot. You learn a lot about leadership, and you just hear from a lot of different people and connect different student council ideas. A lot of student councils do things so different than you would ever think. And so you just learn from all around the state. So it's really cool.
There's also some bills that we talk about. We do a little like faux voting on it, which is really fun and interesting at Mass. Because I don't remember the exact like thing that we went over. Do you remember this? When we talked about like the bills, and we went through Montana state bills and legislature, and we voted on them, like things that were passing that year, and we voted on them just as like student council, and we had like red and green cards, which were really fun, and you just like raise them, and however many like people vote green or red, then it like passes or it doesn't pass, which is also really fun. So we talk about like real world things, which is really nice and interesting as well.
All right, any other comments or questions? Well, thank you for your guys' time tonight. Of course, you're welcome to stay, but if you don't, we won't hold it against you. Have a great week. Yep, have a good night. All right, next up, Board Education. Mrs. Westphal and Johnson. That's fine.
Then I have to remember to push to talk. Greetings, Board of Trustees and district personnel. My name is Jennifer Westphal. I'm the proud principal of Irving Elementary, as well as the district multilingual English learner coordinator. And joining me today is Kelly Johnson, our newest addition to the MLEL team. She is our district MLEL coach. And she's going to talk a little bit about her role in a little bit. But Yes, I am an elementary principal. I'm sorry, audience, my slides are very cute. So I apologize. Is there a way to hold the button down?
I think,
Oh.
yep, there you go.
Technology is fabulous. So we were tasked with just giving a brief overview to the board about what our MLEL program is all about here in our district. So a couple things by the numbers. How many do we actually have? How many multilingual English learners do we have? We have 569 currently, K-12 in our district, identified as multilingual English learner. How are you identified as a multilingual English learner? First, it is based on how your parent or guardian fills out the home language survey when you enroll. If there is any language listed in those questions other than English, that is considered a flag. We do a little more digging usually, and then we decide, yes, we need to assess this student to see if they qualify. We use what is called the WIDA screener. It is across the state of Montana. We use the same screener. And if a student scores below a certain range, they are considered an English learner and or a multilingual learner, because sometimes you can speak many languages, but we do know that that can have an effect on learning your academics in English. So we do have 569, and there's the breakdown. 288 are level 1. That's the lowest level. That's like our brand new to learning English. 97 level 2, 110 level 3, 60 level 4, 14 with no level. That is because those are transfer students from another district. Out of state is the common reason. And we know they're MLEL. We've gotten that confirmation, but their scores did not make it to us. So that's why there's 14 with no score. We have, if I counted correctly, 14 different languages represented in our district. Spanish is the predominant one. There is a little tiny graphic, but I broke it down for you. So 84%, 84.1 to be exact, of our multilingual English learners speak Spanish at home as their home language. You'll see English there. That is because even though maybe your predominant language is English at home, you're still an English multilingual learner. And so that's the second highest. And then you can see as we go, I did put the students next to the ones that are smaller numbers, but we have quite the melting pot. And it's very exciting, but the predominant language is Spanish. This is just a breakdown of how many MLEL students we have at each site. You can see that highlight by far is the elementary school with the largest number, and Gallatin is the high school with the largest number, and SMS is the middle school. What we are hoping, though, will happen with pretty much all across the district is these will start to level out and start to become a little more even. The exciting part is that we have some new personnel. We have added to our arsenal of people, Kelly being one of them. And so this is just a little breakdown of who we have at each site. We have Ellen Gettler at Highlight. She is full-time for obvious reasons because there's 113 MLEL students at Highlight. Irving, we have a split with Meadowlark. We have less students than Meadowlark does, so we get a MLEL teacher for 0.25, so we get her about a day and a half a week. Emily and Whittier split evenly. Sacagawea has a full-time MLEL teacher. This was a new addition. Chief Joseph Middle School finally now has an MLEL teacher, which is wonderful. She's there about 0.6, a little more than half the day. Then she goes and supports Highlight because, again, that's a large number of students. And then Bozeman High School, again, new addition. They have Taylor Speaker. She is there half-time at Bozeman High, and we split her with Gallatin High. Gallatin High has 1.5 altogether. They also have Francis and Hannah. Maggie is in our Welcome Center. Her position was added last year. She's wonderful. She enrolls all of our newcomer MLEL students, assists with just everything you can imagine, busing, lunch application, resources in the community. She has a welcome addition last year. Evelyn Paz-Solis continues her work as a student support advocate, primarily focusing on Tier 3 social emotional learning and behavioral support. And then we have Kelly Johnson, who is our MLEL instructional coach full-time for the district, added this year. So I believe, if I counted correctly, I think that's 10. Don't quote me. Did this quickly. So what is the MLEL program? People might ask, well, that's great. We have all these people, but what exactly do they do? In the elementary world, we focus on our level 1 and 2 students. So those are the ones that need the most support in learning and acquiring English in all 4 domains: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And so for 30 to 45 minutes, at least 3 times a week, the only exception to that is Irving, because we only have her 1.5 days a week, they get English language development, which is focusing on those 4 domains and developing language in all 4 of those areas. They receive, MLEL students should be receiving all tiers of intervention. So not just a pull-out ELD, but in their classrooms, they're receiving that tier 1 instruction, and then intervention support at the tier 2 level, and then their pull-out ELD is considered tier 3. The very exciting news is that all 3 of our elementary MLEL teachers applied for Spark grants to purchase resource specifically for ELD. So cross your fingers that they get that. They will be happy beyond belief. Middle school. Middle school is a little bit different. So SMS is continuing the same program they have for a few years. They actually have an ELD class, several classes, for level 1 students, mostly newcomers, but they don't have to be a newcomer. It's just for level 1 students. They're in this class for 1 year and 1 year only, and it takes the place of one of their electives, and they have it every single day. They're only required to be in it for 1 year, and then we move them on. It's kind of a crash course, if you will. They also, at SMS, have pull-out support in the core subjects as available. So Jennifer Worth, who's the teacher over there, when she's not teaching her ELD classes, she pulls students during their intervention time from math and ELA. So that's considered a tier 2. And then CJ, they have a little bit different model because they share Allison with another school, so they kind of have to work within their means. And so theirs is a pull-out model during ELA. And it is an ELD, but they're pulling them out of that intervention in ELA, and it's for level 1 and 2 students. It's kind of a pilot. We're seeing how it goes. If we find that we need to move to the Sacagawea model, then that's what we will do. But they're seeing how it goes and seeing what the effectiveness is with that model. High school programs, pretty consistent, and the high school principals are here, so if I butcher this, you can just shout out. They have at least a few, if not at least one, but most likely a few ELD classes, same as Sacagawea, for level 1 students, mostly newcomers. Same thing for 1 year, but it actually replaces their English class for 1 year and 1 year only. Then they move into collab classes. So for English and for US History English combo, they are co-taught with an MLEL teacher. And these are mostly for level 1s and 2s as well. And then there is an MLEL study hall. Did I get it right? Yeah? Okay. All right. And then how do we communicate with our MLEL families? That's probably the biggest concern I hear from staff every day, secretaries, front office staff, teachers, I mean, everybody that works in a school. So we have 2 main forms of communication, and then we have something for the teachers. So talking points is what we use the most. It is a you can either do it on your phone or you can do it on the computer. For staff members, we all do it on the computer. And it's a text messaging service for families. So we type the message in English, it translated into whatever English is their home language. There's over 200 languages, 150, excuse me, I was close.
You were.
And it helps everyone be engaged. So for example, we use it all the time in the front office. Your child's absent today. Please share with us the reason they're absent. We hope they're feeling well. Teachers use it all the time. Hey, going on a field trip. Hey, your student needs to help with this. Whatever it is. But the coolest part is we type in English, the magic happens, it translates, and it comes across as a text message to the parents. So this is the main form of communication that schools use to communicate with families, is talking points. And vice versa. If the families need to notify us, they just get on their phone and send a text message. They write it in their home language. It translates to English for us. So it's wonderful. It was a game changer. I think if you ask anybody at a school, they'll say, oh yes, that helped us a lot. The other system that we have is called Acculing. We've had this since last year. There's 2 parts to Acculing. There's an actual live interpreter interpreting. In the MLEL world, we call spoken interpreting, we call that interpreting, and then we call words on paper, we call that translation. It gets mixed up all the time. So you don't say, I want a translator, you say, I want an interpreter. So just one of those things. So you can have a live remote interpreter in 60 seconds. this is true, in 60 seconds. You can do it on your phone, your iPad, or your computer. And I'm having a parent conference with Kelly. Kelly's my parent, having a conference. She doesn't speak English. I pull up my computer. I say, hold on. I pull it up, and there's a live person right there that one is for 200 languages. And I talk, and they interpret. It's wonderful. We just had parent-teacher conferences at my school. Wouldn't have been able to do it without it. You can also use it for a parent phone call. It will do three-way calling. So again, this one is great for face-to-face or phone calls. You can't use talking points for that. The other piece of this for staff members is document translation. So if I want to translate my handbook into Spanish or another language, I use the website, I put my document in, they give me an estimated time frame, I can rush it if I want to, and it gives it back to me in exactly the same format. So very, very helpful for those really important documents that we cannot mess around with when we get them translated. So that's been a huge level up for us as a district. Elevation is what our teachers use. Mostly our teachers, our in-house staff. This is just a way for us to house all our MLEL data. There's all sorts of things that teachers can access in here. The WIDA levels, so we screen them with the WIDA, and then annually we give them the WIDA access assessment to see if they've grown in their proficiency. That comes along with can-do descriptors. What's great about it is, I can tell you have a level 1 student, but what does that mean? Well, the can-do descriptors describe what the students can do. At level 1, this is what students can do. We want to push them to level 2. Those are all in there for all students. We, as an MLEL staff, we add the instructional modifications. These are scaffolds and supports. Read aloud the test to them, not a district test. Read aloud the class test. Use Realia. Pair them with a buddy. Teach them how to take notes. There's a long list of them. We put them in there based on their level, and then teachers can see what they need to do to scaffold for their students. You can run all sorts of reports. You can run last year's WIDA access test to this year's WIDA access test, see the gain or the loss. You can print parent reports. So when a student qualifies, those of us that assess print a parent report that goes to the parent. Here's what your child's receiving. And the best part is on-demand professional development for our teachers. This is probably the thing they love the most about Elevation, is there are 11 pathways, 34 modules, and 108 activities that teachers can access to learn how to work with their MLEL students, and it's on demand. They can start it, finish it at their leisure, go on to another one, and they can earn 1 CEU for each module. So it is benefiting them. But the great thing about it is it's quality and it's easy and it's not super time consuming, and it's stuff they can go to the classroom the next day and use with their students. So from just these 3 resources, we are getting a lot for our teachers and our staff and our families. I want to show you this graphic. Mike actually pulled this graphic, but I won't make Mike explain it. So on the bottom, this is our Acadian. So this is the test we give, the assessment we give, kindergarten through 5th grade, beginning, middle, and end of the year to test literacy, to see where our kids are with their literacy. This is MLEL students, okay? You can tell in kindergarten, we have quite a high number of students, that's the red, that are not proficient. But look what happens as they go into 5th grade. It's hard work and it takes time, but students are learning. This is just our MLEL population. So imagine how hard it is for our English-speaking students to attain literacy. These are students who English is not their first language, and they're doing it. What our goal is every year is for students to grow at least 0.5 of a level in their WIDA scores every year, so that in 5 to 7 years, they will be considered English proficient. And you can tell that's what's happening. So again, it's hard work, but it's worth it. And then to wrap up my portion before I hand it off to Kelly, of course, there's always the challenges, and this is something we always have to talk about. Time in the day. So this is what we struggle with all of our MLEL programs, is just having enough time in the day to pull all the kids that need to be pulled, work around everyone's schedules, work around lunch and recess, work around electives and classes and all of that stuff. So that's always going to be a challenge. Personnel, even though we've added personnel, we always need more. We do have 3 schools in the district that do not have an MLEL teacher.
their numbers are rather low, but as we continue growing, we anticipate those numbers will go up, and then we're gonna have to have that conversation about how we share some more or maybe adding additional personnel. Resources, we do not have an ELD curriculum, an ELD resource that is consistent across elementary. Middle and high school are using National Geographic as kind of their tool, but elementary does not have a common resource, so that's why the Spark grant applications. And then budget, right? We get about, don't quote me, $56,000 a year for our 569 MLEL students. Am I roughly correct on that? $100 a kid? Little less than that. And we have to pay for 10 people, personnel-wise, and resources. So you can imagine that the district is being awesome with paying for this, all of this stuff, and giving us what we need, but budget is always gonna be a problem when it comes to MLEL because the state does not give us any money. And I will be quiet now. Okay, your turn.
You gotta hit one more button. Awesome. Hi, I'm Kelly Johnson. I won't take too much of your time boring you about me. I came here from Salt Lake City. I moved here in June. I am incredibly honored to be here and in this position. It is not a position we had in the district I was in, Salt Lake City, so I would like to applaud you for forward thinking in that. I have many endorsements, ELD being one of them. I was an analytical chemist for 20 years before I went through the APT program in Utah to become a certified middle school science teacher. My students there were 75% multilingual learners. I had 20-some languages in the school alone, out across the district. 30% mobility, so I lost and gained 30% of my student body over a year. I would have new students just about every week, sometimes more than one per day. I learned a lot of skills as being only fluent in English to make my input a lot more comprehensible, and I'm bringing those here and teaching your teachers here how to do what I do. It's a new position, so we're kind of fleshing this out as we go. The main thing is for me to continue to be educated and bring cutting-edge, evidence-based research practices here to the city of Bozeman. I do a lot of professional development in Tier 1 and Tier 2 interventions. These are content-based, teacher-based interventions. Eventually, there is plans for me to do professional development for our own staff as well in Tier 3 interventions. I meet with PLT groups only, because there is only one of me for the whole district, so we're trying to maximize what we have. I am also curating a library of resources, digital, books, other things, technology for teachers to access and making those available to them as we kind of build it. Data analysis, I'm also looking at data. What schools are making growth, what teachers are doing a great job, where can I mainly be of the most use? I've been meeting with all of the principals to kind of really hone in on how we can use that resource the best.
Go.
Yep. Oops, sorry.
It's okay. There you go.
These are just some examples of, in the last 3 months that I've been here, 3 months? 3 months, yeah. Of some things that I've been helping your teachers do. So this is an example of picture glossary. This is a great Tier 1 intervention. It helps all kids, not just multilingual learners. It adds a picture to a definition and multi-language. This is an example of a welcome slide that is engaging. It, again, has a lot of pictures. It has more than one language on it so that we can engage those students the minute that they come into our classrooms. This is an example of a illustrated multi-language video that I recorded with the help of DeepL, my favorite translating software, for a 6th grade, a ELA social studies combo. And then we have our classroom labels. This is one of the things that we did pretty early on and pushed out to a lot of the classrooms. Making a language-rich classroom is one of the ways that signals to a student that they are welcome in that classroom, as well as help them learn English just sitting there. Okay, again, this is an illustrated text of the Odyssey. And that's a 9th grade text. And a graphic organizer goes with. And discussion questions. Student interaction is a thing you'll hear me talk a lot about. It's one of the ways that we can help all learners, not just multilingual learners, but it's crucial for them to get that speaking piece. Thank you so much.
Any questions for us that we can answer?
All right, yeah. Sarah?
So for the schools that don't have their the 3 schools that you mentioned, do they have access to talking points and some of those
Yes.
resources?
They have access to all the resources. Yes, across the district, everyone has the same resources. And Kelly is
Working in all of our
working,
schools with those teachers.
working with those teachers, like that's kind of one of her priorities is those 3 schools because they don't have the MLEL teacher.
I've also provided resources for Tier 2 supports and programs in that school. They have some volunteers in one of the school from the PTO, is that the right term here? That are helping out and delivering some of those lessons that I've provided.
Gary?
Well, thank you both. This was very good information. Just to clarify, is level 1 an area of students that require a lot more resources and work, and level
Yes.
4 is?
Yeah, so in
Less.
order to exit and be considered English language proficient, you must score a 4.7 or higher. There is actually 6 levels on the WIDA, but our state has chosen 4.7 as the exit criteria. So we don't have any students in the district that are level 5 or 6 because they exit at 4.7. So level 1 is brand new, you know hardly any English, and then it goes up from there. So yeah, very good question.
Well, I just want to thank both of you and everyone who's involved in this whole this whole program to serve all kids, because that's what we're here for, is to meet the needs of all kids. And this just sounds so fabulous, so much more than I even had an idea was going on in our district. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys very much for your time,
Thank
putting
you.
all this together for us. So
Thank you.
appreciate you sharing. Have a great night.
You too.
Thank you. Okay, wait, I'm gonna turn it off.
All right, up next, recognition and awards. 2.3.1 MHSA All-State Musicians. Mrs. Campbell and Mr. Ruffcorn, right? Or is Mr. Birdall here as well? Okay. You guys can also stand like behind the chairs if you want. The columns are just a bad spot for you to stand, so. I think there's some more room for you guys maybe over here on this side.
Yeah, come on over here. Here, you guys can go over on this side. All right, while they get set up, hello. My name is Beth Campbell, and I am the Fine Arts Coordinator for the Bozeman School District. This October, our high school sent an astonishing 59 students to the All-State Music Festival in Great Falls. These students, not all of them, some of them are very busy and have other festivals and other things going on today, but these students sent in audition recordings last spring and were chosen to represent the best of their instruments and voices along with other students across the state. Many of these students started their study of their instruments or voice in elementary school, and with the support of their music teachers, these students have learned to persevere, to go above and beyond what is expected in class in order to be recognized here. Please join me in congratulating our 2025 MHSA All-State Student Musicians from Bozeman and Gallatin High Schools.
All right, well, thank you. Is there any trustee comments? All right. Then Liana, you got some questions and comments maybe?
I
Or
do.
you're just going to read? Because there's
I am-
a lot to read.
There's a lot to read. But
Appreciate it.
I do have one question, and you don't have to all answer, just, one or two of you. First, congratulations. Like, that is amazing, and what a great accomplishment. My one question is, what did you find the most valuable about this experience? And just one or two of you want to answer. That'd be great. And what's your name?
Evelyn. I think getting to experience just having a musical experience with everybody who all enjoys and loves music, and being able to create something beautiful with each other and connecting on some sort of deeper level in that sort of way.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Riley. I found throughout just my high school career in general, this is my second time at Allstate, that it just it's an unexplainable passion, and being able to go to something like Allstate or All Northwest or anything like that, it's just such an amazing experience, and you just find your community of people who love the same things that you do, and it's just super cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Well, so I get to present this. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt the following resolution. Whereas members of the Bozeman High and Gallatin High music program have excelled as musicians through their hard work, dedication, and talent, and whereas they prepared and performed individual auditions which were sent to the MHSA Music Committee in the spring of 2025. From these auditions, top-scoring students in the state of Montana were chosen to participate in All-State ensembles, and whereas the students went on to perform at the All-State Music Festival at Great Falls High School in Great Falls, Montana on October 15th through the 17th of 2025. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees recognize and honor Bozeman High School Band, Kelly Bertle as director, Rowan Williamson, flute, All-State Orchestra, Zoe Douglas, clarinet, Lola McCurdy, French horn, Max Kabaki, bassoon, All-State Orchestra, Sam Kenk, tuba. From the Bozeman High School Choir, Jacob Malchek as the director, Lila Malchek, soprano 1, Taylor Laird, alto 1, Riley Robinson Yadow, alto 2, Alex Broker, tenor 1, and Xander Bird, bass 2. Bozeman High School Orchestra with Nathan Holler as director, Valentin Coons, violin, Luke Minton, violin, Addison Rutherford, violin, Sophia Gaskill, viola, Osa Kithel Hodge, viola, Jackson Matney Baguette, viola, Caitlin Welsh, viola, Colin Foley, cello, Amelia Hexam, cello, Florentin Coons, cello, Alexandra Hansen, harp. From the Gallatin High School Band with Jeffrey Ruffcorn as director, Anna Page Elwell, flute, Kendall Levert, flute, Aubrey Lewis, flute, Lily Dodge, clarinet, Kai Braun, alto sax, Daniel Chen, tuba with All-State Orchestra, and the Gallatin High School Choir with Michelle Maurer as director, Olivia Haskell, soprano 1, Brecken Hessler, soprano 1, Chloe McDaniel, soprano 1, Kate Roscoe, soprano 1, Rachel Corelli, soprano 2, Joy Hahn, soprano 2, Elizabeth McLean, soprano 2, Capri Quigley, soprano 2, Haley Stoller, soprano 2, Evelyn Vaughn, soprano 2, Violet Hilmer, alto 1, Sydney Layton, alto 1, Brady Boswell, tenor 1, Wade Stolman, tenor 1, Jake Apperbach, tenor 2, Isaac Ashcraft, bass 1, Bridger Gores, bass 2, Bridger Hessler, bass 2, Blake Ross, bass 2, and the Gallatin High School Orchestra with Chandra Lynn as director, Lucille Bryce, violin, Carmelo Longobardi, violin, Maya Maginito, violin, Jacqueline Staglia, violin, John Santaligla, violin, Kaylin Seji, violin, Evelyn Westakow, violin, Eden Hyatt, violin, Jackson Fidlet, viola, Caden Jimerson, viola, Francis Fry, cello, Elsa Stern, cello, and Josephine Grail, bass.
Second.
Motion first time. Motion passes 8-0. Good job. Congratulations. Since you guys are already up here, you guys can just come like right in this area. Yeah. If we need to get, so you guys can just come right here. Some might need to kneel down. We'll try to make it quick.
My contacts started to get sticky. I was like, oh no, I can't read. Can't see. It's all good.
All right, thank you. Next one up, 2.3.2 AA cross-country state championship teams, individual state champions, and all state and individuals. Mr. Ader.
Good evening, board members. Thanks for having us here tonight. I'm looking to see if Graydon Curry made it. Coach Curry? He did not. All right, so, wow. Come on up, assistant coach. There we go. Hi, Liza. How are you doing? Yeah, good. Hop in here with me. We're going to talk about our Gallatin High athletes first. We'll talk about our Gallatin High athletes first, and then we'll have our Bozeman High athletes. Coach Jermaine will come up with the Bozeman High athletes, and we'll get going real quick, okay? All right.
Mr.
Coach
Ader,
Ed,
you can bring up the Gallatin High.
Yes. Gallatin High, I need Lila, Hazel, Claire, Natalie, and Bridger to come on up. Coach Dan, he's an assistant coach. Sorry, I put you on the spot.
Oh, no.
All right,
You want me
and
to
just a
read this or
reminder
go?
as far as the athletes go.
Go ahead. Yeah, I think it's better if you do.
Yeah, that's much better.
All
We
right,
like to
hop
be able
up
to
front
see
there.
you, so.
You don't need to see me. You guys hop
No,
up there.
yeah. Columns are tough for us, so. All right.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, guys, school board, thank you guys for having us. This is really cool that you guys recognize these kids. It's been a long season, and they put their heart and soul into it, so it's really cool that they get this recognition at the end of the year. Tonight, we want to recognize Hazel Cooper, Natalie Rutherford, Lila Caro, Claire Rucker, and Bridger Warner. These guys were all all-state athletes for us this year. Hazel had an awesome year. First year running cross country. We got her from the soccer team this year. So our win on that front. Natalie Rutherford came back from injury last year. Worked really hard all summer. Had a great year, and it just kept getting better all the way until the state meet. Lila Caro, second year running, and just kept getting better all the way from last year. We got Claire Rucker, freshman. Stole her from the cross-country ski trails for our cross-country team, and the snow translates well to land, we found out. She had a great year. And then Bridger Warner, this is his second year being all-state, put in a lot of miles this year, and they paid off at the end of the year. So congratulations, guys, great year. These are the Gallatin High All-Staters.
Nice job.
Thanks.
Now I'll have Casey come up with the Bozeman High athletes.
You guys either can go back to your seat, Gallatin High athletes. You guys either go back to your seats, but you're gonna come back up here. So you could also just stand up right over here if you want, whichever if you're, but don't go too far. You will be coming back up.
Yeah, if we can get the guys and the gals team up. All of you, yeah. They can kind of just, fill in. They don't need to see me. Hayden, jump up there. All right. We've got both the boys and the girls team up here. Both state championship teams, which is awesome for the Bozeman High program. I would say over in Missoula, it was definitely a good day to be a Hawk if you were out there on that course. We put on the guys' side, I'll start with the guys first, we put 4 guys in the top 10 to garner all-state honors, which is very impressive. This kind of goes for the girls' team too, but it's kind of fun when I kind of get to reminisce and look back through these results. On each side, you have an average of 110 to 112 runners that toe the line at state. All 7 runners on the girls' side and the boys' side, Zeke being 7th on the guys' side and Adele being 7th on the girls' side, finished in the top 50. So if you think about that and take a step back and look, the top 50 in the entire state. So in the top half of the state competitors, all 7 of our runners were across that line, which is very impressive. With the guys, all state, Brandon Foot was 10th, Christian Landers was 6th, Taylor Neal was runner-up in 2nd place, and then Miles Halverson as the state championship on the guys. I think the guys, if I were to reflect back on that trip, definitely I would say it was a business trip on the guys. I think they were pretty serious. I think it was safe to say going into state, you kind of knew we were pretty confident that we were going to get that win. You've got a pretty good preview throughout the season. But what I really liked about it was even though those guys kind of knew that, I think they just stepped up to the plate and ran super hard and competed extremely well. Rounding out the guys' places, Jacob Posden was 22nd and Finn Worth 38th. And like I mentioned, Zeke was 46th for that 7. So nice job to those guys. Moving on to the girls, we put 4 girls in the top 12. Phoebe Maxner in 3rd, Kylie Neal in 5th, Tula Higman in 6th, Lucy Erickson in 12th to garner All-State. Caitlin Lustenau was 23rd, Ingrid London 39th, and Adele finishing 48th to have all 7 of those girls in the top 50. A little different tale for the girls versus the guys. I think the girls like to keep things interesting. I think the first half of that race, we weren't quite sure. We knew Gallatin was sitting in a really good spot, but you could definitely see after that big hill on the course, those girls really had super strong finishes in that second half. Tula Higman and Caitlin Lustenau were kind of standouts in having a tremendous last mile and getting the win for us. Season's not over yet. We do have NXR this weekend in Spokane.
All right, thank you very much, Coach Germain. I guess invite back up the Gallatin High athletes as well. So wherever you guys want to manage, same rules apply. No columns. Any comments from trustees? All right, Greg, we'll turn it over for your questions and the reading.
Well, congratulations, everyone. It's been super fun to be along for this season, to all the kids at both schools. And I used to sit where Kevin does and lead these meetings, and when we would have these awards and recognitions, everyone would get to ask questions. And Kevin's put in some rules to only one person gets to ask questions, which means this is all on me. So I'm going to keep it real brief, and I'm not going to ask all of you questions, but I do have some questions for some of you just to engage you in front of the board. And so I'll start with the kids from Gallatin. Natalie Rutherford, you're a sophomore, correct? And you battled some injury this year. You're a legacy kid. Your sister's the 3-time Gatorade champ, runner at MSU now. And it was really fun to watch you come in. And I know that your freshman year you had some injuries and kind of had some frustrations, but give us an idea of how your sophomore season went for the Raptors this year.
I don't know. I had pretty low expectations at the beginning of the season. I kind of just wanted to finish my races and not get injured again. So I kind of just worked myself up from there. And yeah.
You did a great job, so congratulations. And next, Hazel, I can't go without talking to you. It was really great to see you come in. I know that you also had some injuries this cross-country season coming over from soccer. So there were some negatives, but if you could maybe give us an idea of some of the positives. How did the summer training go? I know your decision was really hard for you to switch over from soccer. Are you happy that you did? Did you enjoy the training? Give us an idea of what that looked like for you.
Yeah, it was definitely a little weird switching over. I don't know. I've liked it though. I think it was a good decision for me. I've enjoyed the season. Hasn't gone like exactly how I wanted, but it was still fun being part of the team.
I think after your injuries, you ended up only running 2 or 3 races total, counting state, so it's pretty outstanding to
Not that
finish
many.
all state. So congratulations. And where's Bridger? There you are back there, back with the Bozeman boys, like you always are. You beat them all in the Santa Run last year. You were gone for a semester on exchange last year, but you had a great cross-country season as a sophomore, finishing all-state, and had your second consecutive all-state finish this year. Tell us about your season, and also I know you're a super well-rounded kid. What are your other interests and activities in addition to how your season went?
Do you mind repeating the first half of that?
Tell us about your season and your interests.
Okay. To be honest, I'm pretty proud of the season. I don't think I need the microphone right now, but I'm pretty proud of the season. Just coming off of a semester without any running, getting a little bit more like rear delt strength than anything else paddling in South America. But I'm pretty proud of the way that I was able to bounce back and get in the swing of things, got my mileage up, and got another all-state title. So
that's awesome.
Can't complain about that at all. But right now, I'm just focusing on, I guess, if we're talking about my interests, it's just writing a little bit for journalism, and then getting into the swing of things, making a film festival in Livingston this May, and then also trying to get together a few films, and also working with this organization called Friends of the Montana Constitution to produce some videos for them.
Excellent, thank you. And again, for you Gallatin kids that I didn't get to, I'm not going to get to all the Bozeman kids either. But congratulations on your second place finish, and Bridger, great job. On to the Bozeman kids. Caitlin Lucenow, you along with Phoebe and Finn were the Fab freshmen this year, and you were that freshman that popped a really good race at state. It seems like that happens every few years where a freshman kind of comes out of nowhere and puts their team over the top for a trophy. Natalie's sister did it when she was a freshman, Claire. Christian Landers did it when he was a freshman. They were the freshmen that had an extra good race. Tell us about how that race unfolded for you.
Is this on?
I don't know. Is it on? Can you make sure it's on? Just flip that button up. Yeah.
So, wait, how the race was?
Yeah, tell us how your race went.
So obviously we started, and then at the first mile it was like 6:30, and I knew I kind of had to like speed up, because that's not very good. Well, it's really good.
Great job. Congratulations. And Phoebe, you're next. I'm going to ask you a question. It was really, really great to see you establish yourself as a leader on this team this year. And I think everybody knew that you were going to have a great state race, but based on the way that your season went. But tell us what it means to you to be a member of Bozeman Hot Cross Country, and how your first season went.
And it's really fun just to be a part of something like bigger, you really feel like bonded as a team. Like whether in BTC, it was more like just racing for you, I guess, but it's definitely a team sport.
Awesome, congratulations. And no Branlin, is that accurate? He's off the hook if he didn't come, that's too bad. Christian and Miles, you guys are our seniors this year. Miles, you're the state champ. Kristen, you are the one that popped that good race as a freshman and won us the state championship in 2022. Wouldn't have happened without you doing that year. And Miles, your story was equally amazing. You could have won state last year, but you got real sick. And it was a year of redemption for you, and you could close it out. It was fantastic. I know what you're doing next year, but if you guys know, I'm not sure if you know what your plans are next, Christian, but tell the board what your plans are for next year, if you know.
yeah, next year I signed to, well, actually, I sign on Wednesday, but I'm going to run for Colorado State University, which I'm super excited about. The team's building this year, and they've won a lot of championships in the Mountain West Conference, and I'm just excited to help contribute to that team next year.
Excellent. Christian, do you know what you're doing yet? And if you do, would you like to share it?
Unlike Miles, I'm uncertain. My first choice would be attending a service academy of the Air Force Academy or the Naval Academy. If that doesn't work out and I get a rejection along the lines, I do have some fallback schools that I would be happy to sign for and continue running or skiing for them as well.
That's awesome. Well, you two have been outstanding members of this team for a lot of years, so congratulations on 3 out of 4 state championships, 1 runner-up your sophomore year, and it's not over, but it's been really great to be a part of your ride. And Tula, you're last but not least, but it's been an honor to have you in this program as well. You're only a junior, but you're a national champion Nordic skier, multi-sport athlete. What are your goals for this year in Nordic?
I'm not like fully sure yet. I haven't started skiing, but I definitely hope to like have some good places in nationals and hope to travel internationally, but we'll see as the season comes.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations to everyone. I have the award. I'm going to read it and get you guys out of here. Thanks so much for coming tonight, and to all the parents for sitting through all of half our board meeting. I support the recommendation that the Board of Trustees adopt the following resolution, whereas the Bozeman High and Gallatin High cross-country teams participated in the 2025 State AA cross-country meet in Missoula on October 25th, 2025, and whereas the Bozeman High girls team finished as state champions. Team members include Lucy Erickson, Tula Higman, Sydney Ho, Adele Kozicki, Caitlin Lustenau, Ingrid London, Phoebe Maxner, Kylie Neal, and Nesia Nicholas. And whereas the Bozeman High boys team finished as state champions, team members include Zeke Donahue, Brandlin Foote, Miles Halverson, James Henrich, Christian Landers, Taylor Neal, Jacob Posden, Hayden Shoup, and Finn Worth. And whereas Bozeman High's Miles Halverson finished as the AA boys state champion. Whereas earning all state honors by finishing in the top 15 were Bozeman High, Lucy Erickson, 12th, Brandlin Foote, 10th, Miles Halverson, 1st, Tula Higman, 6th, Christian Landers, 6th, Phoebe Maxner, 3rd, Kylie Neal, 5th, Taylor Neal, 2nd, Gallatin High, Lila Caro, 15th, Hazel Cooper, 8th, Claire Rucker, 14th, Natalie Rutherford, 7th, Bridger Warner, 12th. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees recognize and honor the 2025 Bozeman High Girls State Championship cross-country team, Lucy Erickson, Tula Higman, Sydney Ho, Adele Kozicki, Caitlin Lustenau, Ingrid London, Phoebe Maxner, Kylie Neal, and Nesia Nicholas. 2025 Boys High School State Championship cross-country team, Zeke Donahue, Brandlin Foote, Miles Halverson, James Henrich, Christian Landers, Taylor Neal, Jacob Posden, Hayden Shoup, and Finn Worth. Individual state champion, Miles Halverson. Bozeman High All-State Individuals, Lucy Erickson, Brandlin Foote, Miles Halverson, Tula Higman, Christian Landers, Phoebe Maxner, Kylie Neal, and Taylor Neal. And Gallatin High All-State Individuals, Lila Caro, Hazel Cooper, Claire Rucker, Natalie Rutherford, and Bridger Warner.
Second.
Motion made by Trustee Neal, seconded by Trustee Sandy Wilson. Any public comment? All those in favor? Motion passes 8-0. Congratulations. Before you guys walk off, you guys need to come up here. All you guys come up here, turn around. We'll take a picture with you. Thank you to the coaches and all the parents for their support. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Good job, Christian.
I'm gonna bring a step stool.
Up. Yeah. Next up, item 2.3.2, 2020, ASBO Materials Budget Award for the 2025-26 budget document. Mike, once again, you have cleared a room. It's all yours.
Good evening, trustees. Thanks for sticking around. Here to congratulate Lacey tonight on the Meritorious Budget Award from the Association of School Business Officials. This district is a pretty well-awarded district, as you all know. The Golden Gavel is something that we've historically received. We've got lots of financial statement awards over the course of the years. This marks 10 years of the budget award. I was even thinking about the strategic plan, the Model PLC School District designation that is part of our long-range strategic plan. We don't do these things for the awards. We do them for the work that goes into it, the trust that they build. And so it is with this Meritorious Budget Award. I'm not going to belabor the point. I know Lacey's got a long speech prepared, and she's looking forward to the photo opportunity with the board. But it's important to us that we do things right, and it's also important that how we do them. And this is just another tool in another feather in our cap, I think, for to build trust with our community. We've got answers to any questions that they may ask. We obviously prioritize transparency, and I think that's what this budget's about. Couldn't be happier to work with Lacey every day. We are blessed to have her in this district. Thankful for every day and for her work on this award.
Lacey, you have a speech as well? Well, thank you for all your work and everybody that supports you in it. Thank you very much. Are there any trustee questions or comments? Ayana?
I just want to say thank you for all your hard work. You make it easy as a trustee just knowing how well this is run and what you do. So thank you so much.
I would also like to add that truly there is so much trust in this community when it comes to funding for our school district, and I'm so proud of that. But it's you guys who do that. And the transparency in which you do that, and how easily your presentations, we're coming up on a couple of those presentations, are so much easier to understand than not, I guess I should say. But I really do appreciate how much you work, how well you work, and how well you work together too. I do want to point that out. You guys in that office work so well together and support each other, and that's just another plus for what you do for this district. Thank you very much.
Any other comments, questions? Greg?
I just want to say it's the entire time, 8 years or so that I've been a trustee, it's just been nothing but confidence in your office and the human beings that we have leading you, doing what you two do, and it just takes a lot of resources off of everyone, just being able to have confidence in the business office. And so thanks for doing what you do, and we don't say it enough, but we appreciate you two, and thanks for leading Lacey.
All right. Melissa, I think you're up.
Lacey, thank you for all the behind-scenes work on the budget and explaining the budget. I've got 13 general managers that would love to listen to you explain the budget, because none of them can meet their budgets right now, so I might bring you in. I move that the Board of Trustees adopt the following resolution. Whereas the district's long-range strategic plan core values state that we operate with honesty, use research-based decision-making, and provide open communication. and we are responsible in the management and expenditure of all district resources. And whereas the Association of School Business Officials International, ASBO, awards a Meritorious Budget Award, MBA, for excellence in budget presentation. And whereas the MBA promotes and recognizes best practices in school district budget presentation. Districts that apply to the MBA program recognize the importance of presenting a high-quality, easy-to-understand budget internally and to the community. And whereas the attainment of this award represents a significant accomplishment by the district and its management. And whereas Bozeman School District received the award for the 10th consecutive year for our 2025-2026 budget document. And whereas Director of Business Services Lacey Clark is primarily responsible for overseeing the completion of the budget. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees recognize and honor Lacey Clark and the entire business services staff for excellence in preparation of the district's annual budget document.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Moran, seconded by trustee D. Any public comment? All those in favor? Motion passes 8-0. Congratulations. Would you like to come to the middle for a picture? Yes. Action items, consent agenda. I would entertain a motion.
I move that we approve action item consent items 3.2.1, 3.4.1, 3.4.2, 3.4.3.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Sandy Wilson, seconded by trustee Lucine. Any public comment? All those in favor? Motion passes 8-0. All right, thank you. Next item is, we have no action items, so tonight we'll have board discussion. 5.1, policy first reading. Casey, I think these next two are yours.
Thank you, Chair Black. First one is discussing recommended revisions to policy 3110, which is the entrance, placement, and transfer policy. Two different areas that we've adjusted or recommending adjusting. The first part is around early entry into kindergarten for students who are under 5 years old. If you go back in time, we used to have that exceptional circumstances provision and an early running start kindergarten. Now we've moved to a targeted early intervention for math or numeracy. These policy changes are intended to communicate that we don't have early entrance into kindergarten, that we run a targeted program for 4-year-olds who need reading or math support, and that kindergarten is for students who are 5 years of age or older. The second part of this policy is due to the result of a lawsuit that recently worked through the state of Montana. Disability Rights of Montana sued Montana OPI and the state of Montana, and were successful in that lawsuit around educating students up to age 22. And so there's some changes to the policy to sort of clarify that students with disabilities become eligible at age 3 and have some eligibility through their 22nd birthday. And there's quite a few nuances to the serving students through their 22nd birthday, but we're making these adjustments in alignment with that court case. With that, I'd take any questions you might have on this policy.
Lena, is your mic just on from last time, or do you have a question? Yeah, no problem. All right, any comments or questions? All right, and then they'll come back on consent next meeting. Okay, all right, thank you. So moving on, committee reports?
One more policy.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking that.
No problem.
Sorry.
Also recommending revisions to policy 3150. They're really just a cleanup of some areas that we missed in the last major policy overhaul. I think it was the 23 legislative session opened the door for non-resident enrollment as we know it today. And so policy 3150, which is a part-time enrollment policy, used to refer to our old non-resident enrollment, and so we're removing those policy cross-references and updating them to the correct policy, 3141. Again, not a result of a law change, just a cleanup policy change, and it'll take 2 readings.
Questions or comments? All right. Thank you. Now this time for real. 5.2, committee reports.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Black. We don't have any committee reports, and I also wanted to comment on committees because you might have questions why we never have committee reports. We've made some changes to our standing board committees. The DOCC is the one regular committee that meets monthly. The November meeting, if you're on the DOCC for tomorrow, has been canceled due to lack of agenda items. But many of the other committees have become a meet as needed instead of a quarterly meeting or 3 times a year and trying to find agenda items or meeting to meet. So the LRSP, the Long Range Facility Plan, the Equity Committee, Safety Committee, Student Wellbeing, all of those have turned into meeting as needed. So when we do have important agenda items for those committees, we will pull them together. That's why you rarely see committee reports on our agenda.
Okay. Thank you for the update, Casey. Next item, 5.3, 2025-26 enrollment update and future projections. Mrs. Clark.
Good evening, trustees. I'm going to present the enrollment projections, but before we get started, I kind of want to preface it. Mike Van Buren's team in the Curriculum and Data Office have revamped and revised and updated and made this process so smooth and so streamlined. It takes a huge team to put these numbers together, and it takes a lot of detail. We, as you know, receive funding based on the number of students that are in our schools. So it's really, really important that we get it accurate. We have it audited every single year, and we've never had an issue with this. And I know that with all the new reports and updates that the data team has made, we're going to continue down that path. So a big thank you to Mike and the data and curriculum team for making this process so much more streamlined than it ever has been in the past. It's a big ask that takes a couple weeks to put together to make sure it's accurate and concise and that we have the numbers right. So with that being said, I'm just going to jump right in. This is just a summary of the last 11 years of the enrollment history. I went back 11 years because I think it's really important. 5 years ago was a really weird time with 2020, and I feel like we have rebounded and have some normalcy, but I also think it's important to know what transpired prior to 2020 and how it is reflected now. When you look at the blue line, that's our elementary line, and it's obviously going to be the most amount of students because it's the largest grade band, K through 5. It's really interesting. When you look at total numbers in 2025 in elementary versus total numbers in 2015, we only actually have 29 students more in 2025 than we did in 2015. But now we also have the increased ability to count additional students. We can now count SPED pre-K students, and we can also count the Bozeman Reads early literacy. So those have been huge contributors to bring our K-5 elementary levels up. If we didn't have those, we would have seen a decline overall. The red line is going to be the middle school line. That's obviously the lowest enrollment count because it's the smallest of the grade bands. when we look back 11 years ago at the elementary, we actually have 130 more kids in elementary since then. However, of the 130, 120 of those were an increase from 2015 to 2020. We've only actually increased 28 kids in the middle school levels from 2020 to 2025. So you can see that the big increase was prior to COVID there. And then for the green lines for the high school, that has just been a steady increase. And the huge increase really kind of started in 2020, which is counterintuitive to what the other numbers are showing. But we have increased since 2020 to 2025 in the high school, we've increased 443 students. In the 5 years prior to that, we only increased 402 students. So since COVID, our high school numbers have really, really grown. And in this, you can just see that the purple line indicates the total enrollment from 2015 to present. Overall, we're looking at about 1,000 kids in growth. We had 6,505 in 2015, up to 7,509 in 2025. This is just a breakdown of our elementary schools showing smallest to largest. A couple important things to highlight this year. Irving was the only school that had the exact same enrollment as last year. There was absolutely no change. They remained at 173 students. Going kind of down the line, you can see that Morning Star did increase by 16 students, but part of that was the addition of a 5th classroom for the Bozeman Reeds, which accounted for 17 students. And they also house our SPED pre-K students there that have always been. However, this is the first year that we were able to count them for A and B as well. So there was an additional 15 students with the SPED pre-K. Highlight actually decreased slightly from last year. They decreased by 19 students for a total enrollment of 499. They're our second largest elementary school. And then Emily Dickinson increased by 10 students. They are now at 539 students, which is the largest enrollment history in the history of our elementary schools. So previously it was Highlight with 537. They've decreased, Emily Dickinson has gone up, and we've never had such a large elementary school before. This is just the breakdown of middle school enrollment by building. You can see Chief Joseph is on the left and Sacagawea is on the right. This year, our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade enrollment is the highest enrollment since 2021 with 1,602 students. Of that, 773 of those students are at CJMS, and you can see it doesn't look like a huge increase, but it is significant. It's the highest enrollment at CJMS since 2017. So they are, they've bounced back from COVID pandemic, and they are now at their highest enrollment for 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. And then here's the breakdown of the high school for the last few years. In these, we combine Bozeman High School and the BCA. We understand that they're two separate schools, but the amount of students that actually have dual enrollment within the two schools is really significant. BCA, as the ladies alluded to tonight, has increased substantially. They had 101 students at Count Day last year. This year they have 134 students. The majority of those students are dual enrolled in BCA and in Bozeman High. Gallatin High School, on the right, has 1,464 students. It isn't actually the highest enrollment that Gallatin High has ever seen. The largest was in 2023 when they had 1,480 students at Count Day. Go ahead. And this is just kind of a breakdown of the grade levels by school. It's been really interesting to follow this 11th grade class. 2 years ago when they were freshmen, I believe is about the time where we as a district and you as trustees decided that it was time to level out the playing field between enrollment at both of the schools. That 11th grade class is just substantially different. The difference in their numbers is actually about the difference of the total between the two schools. So once that 11th grade class drops off, you're gonna see much more equal numbers between the schools moving forward. This is just the K-8 enrollment totals, so number of students by grade level, and this I did not go back into SPED pre-K and early literacy. I just started with kindergarten on. A couple really important things that I thought were really interesting as we looked at this We have 11 more total kids in grades K through 8. When we projected kindergarten for this year, based off of the live births at Bozeman Health, we were only 2 kids off, which I thought was really cool when we were looking back at the numbers. We had projected 446, and we actually had 444 this year. And if you just look at K-5 by itself, we've actually decreased 26 students overall. When you look at some of the other graphs, it'll look like an increase, but that's once again because of the SPED pre-K and the Running Start students that are included in there. You can see the middle school, that 6th and 7th grade class has grown a ton. However, it is a smaller 8th grade class than we have had previously. When that 8th grade class actually moves into the high school, it's gonna be a smaller class than they've had in a long time as 9th graders. So we expect for that to start to level the line of high school enrollment in the future. And this is what we find so interesting and fascinating to look at. This is the Bozeman Health live birth data. So obviously, we have to look back 5 years and see what we think our enrollment is going to look like in the future. Currently right now, with our 444 kindergarten students, we're looking at birth years of 2020, 2021. Next year, we do anticipate a larger kindergarten class size by about 43 students. That's because we're gonna be looking at 2021 and 2022, and you can see 2022 is an increase from 2020. So 1 year drops off, another year comes on. Beyond that, for the next couple years, it's not going to increase quite as substantially as next year's increase because of the huge jump from the year 2020 to 2021, but it will continue to increase, and that's what we project moving forward. What was really interesting, Bozeman Health is projecting 1,422 live births in this calendar year. So that red bar isn't actually a set in stone number. That's what they're projecting. They know what they've had so far, and then they can look and see what they expect to have over the next few months. But in the past, we've always been told that 1,300 is roughly their capacity. Obviously, if somebody needs to deliver a baby, they're going to deliver that baby in there. But this is really, really pushing their beds and their facility uses. So 1,422. Come 2030, we're gonna have a really, really large kindergarten class coming in, yeah.
Lacey, didn't we also hear from them that a large increase in sort of like medical tourism, like people from outside of Bozeman coming to Bozeman to have a baby?
Yep, it
and
was
then
kind
going
of
home?
It was interesting. They called it their second market, or not their primary market. We have no way to distinguish which of those are going to stay in our community and go to Bozeman School District, or who's going to go out. We can only go based off of the numbers that we know. So we'll kind of see how those develop. I thought that was a really interesting increase. Looking at the trends, so this slide looks 10 years prior. That middle black bar is the current, and then the projected increase for going all the way to 2035. K-5 enrollment is decreasing. That's mostly due to the larger classes in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade moving up to middle school, and we do have some smaller classes in K through 2nd. So as they move through, our elementary enrollment is expected to level out or decline slightly. Middle school is still climbing for the next 3 years as those larger 3 through 5 classes come into the middle school. And then we're expecting a slight decrease in grades 9 through 12 in the enrollment next year, mostly because the 8th grade class is just a bit smaller. I think they're smaller by about 30 kids than our previous 8th grade class that's now 9th graders. So we expect a very slight decline in grades 9 through 12. With that being said, I know you guys have seen this slide a lot over the years. If you look at the dotted lines, that's our capacity. And if you look at the solid lines, that's our actual enrollment. So this is really blurry. There's a lot of lines up there. So if you'll click on the next slide, we'll break it down. This is our elementary enrollment versus functional capacity. You can see back in 2016-17, that was about as close as we've been in a long time. Let's see, that was right about the time when we expanded Hawthorne, and we were within about 190 students at capacity at that point. Right now we have capacity of an additional 436 students. So that's on the side of one of our larger elementary schools that we could facilitate. Our middle school numbers are a bit closer to each other. Right now, we're currently sitting below capacity by 201 students. In 2017, where you see those two lines hit up, we were actually over by 65 students, and that's when we did the SMS expansion. We don't have any thoughts or suggestions to anticipate that we would need to add additional room at the middle schools over the next 10 years. And then our high school, you can see that bump is obviously when we added GHS. We're currently at below capacity by 159 students. If you click to the next, you'll see in 2031, we actually have an enrollment projection of spot on to the capacity at 3,000. I think that's a really interesting conversation to have. When we built GHS, we had a much different schedule than we do now. The block schedule, I think, has allowed for some kids to have free periods. It's allowed for a little bit more flexibility and dynamics. So it would be really interesting to go back and analyze what the capacity is with the new block schedule and how that really phases into things. I don't necessarily think that we're going to be concerned come 2031, but it's just something we'll have to keep having conversations about and keep our eye on. And then switching gears a little bit, last year was the start of House Bill 203, which was the open enrollment, where districts of residents can attend other districts. And we've seen more students taking advantage of it, but nothing that's going to significantly swing our numbers. You can see the red line is where House Bill 203 really got implemented. The green line is Bozeman school districts that are enrolled out of district. The blue line is out-of-district kids that actually come into the Bozeman School District. So you can see that we actually have more kids going out than we have coming in, which has really always been the way, that's been the pattern for years, mostly because Bozeman School District never accepted out-of-district kids prior to open enrollment. And so that was not an option. If you go to the next slide, you can see the breakdown of where our kids are going. What we're seeing is most of the kids that are leaving Bozeman School District are K-8 students. So they are going to our feeder districts, and then they end up coming back into Bozeman School District for grades 9 through 12. Currently 174 BSD kids going elsewhere. Lamont, I thought was an interesting one. You can see the jump from 24 to 25. We previously had 11 of our students attending Lamont, and this year we have 23. Montforton was another interesting one. Previously, last year, there was 13 kids going to Montforton, and now there's 21. And then Anderson on the left-hand side there, you can see, has always accepted out-of-district kids, and they have 71 of Bozeman School District children attending there. So just to recap a little bit, this is our highest year of enrollment on the books for Bozeman School District, with 103 students overall increasing. A huge amount of that is our SPED pre-K. Those are our 3-year-olds. We have 15 students that we can count for A and B in that program. We have more students than that in that program. There's stipulations for the number of hours that kids are served and how you can count those hours towards enrollment. So we have roughly 40 kids actually in the SPED pre-K program. The majority of them are under the allotted hours for us to count them for A and B. Pre-K increased by 17 students. Overall, kindergarten through 5th grade continued to decrease. And then you can see once again the jumps in grades, mostly 6th and 7th. 8 did see a little decrease, but that's 37 students in the middle school. And then 9th through 12th increased by 60 students. BCA is continuing to increase, approximately 69 A and B based on part-time status shared between both of the schools. What we're looking for next year for Bozeman Reads, looking to increase for the 2026-27 school year. If we add 2 more classrooms, that would be 36 additional students that we could count for A and B, which once again is contributing greatly to our overall enrollment. That would basically be a third. And then the BSD resident students attending other districts increased by 25. However, the kids coming into Bozeman School District from other districts also increased. It increased by 52. So we saw more new kids signing up to come in than signing up to go out. With that, I'll take any questions that you guys might have.
Gary?
Thank you, Lacey. Very good information. And the BCA student enrollment, are any of those out-of-district students that enroll in BCA?
I don't have that level of detail. I'm not sure. That's a good question, though, Gary. I can find out.
Greg? Greg, go ahead.
I feel like I should know the answer to this. Are the BCA numbers counted in the BHS numbers?
They
Or-
are when we're looking at the graphs. It's a combined total of BCA/BHS.
Okay, so when we're comparing the two high schools, BCA is a part of BHS?
Yes,
Okay,
correct. Yep.
Thanks.
Ayana?
For those SPED kids, you said there's actually 40 that we're serving, but 15 that count. Is there a way to know, like, are any of the ones that are not counted is there like a way that they can be moved, or do you know, project anything about them being counted next time, or does that make sense?
Yeah, I can take that one. There's not a lot of clear guidance around from OPI around part-time special education students. It's the first year that we're doing that. So in other grade levels, if a IEP student is on a partial day due to behavior or other things, we're counting them as a full-time student because we're fully implementing their IEP. At the 3 and 4 year old level, we have virtually no 3-year-olds that are there. They're all part-time students. And then 4-year-olds really varies. The 4-year-olds that have inclusion opportunities in Bozeman Reads are spending more time. So we took a pretty conservative approach in terms of the number of minutes and hours, adding it up to meet the quarter time, half time, or 3/4 time thresholds. I would imagine that the next legislative session is going to churn on some guidance around 3 and 4-year-old A and B numbers. Because like those 3-year-olds, we feel like we're giving them a great quality education, and it's just right for what they need as a 3-year-old. It's not just right to have a 3-year-old in a pre-K, special ed preschool all day long.
Sandy?
So the application of this data, as my takeaway from it is that we aren't looking at really doing any building or expanding of any for a long time, and then boundary adjustments either.
Yeah, I mean, the data doesn't show a glaring need for any
Yes.
of those items. The 36 additional students in Bozeman Reads, Morningstar is out of extra classrooms. So we're looking at sort of the northeast corner of Irving Elementary, that little vestibule that has 2 classrooms. Facilities is looking at putting some restrooms in those 2 classrooms, and those would be the additional 2, moving from 5 to 7 classrooms. We also have it's another kind of blurry area in the law around you technically shouldn't have a waiting list for your 4-year-old program. It should be treated like kindergarten. Students who move in and qualify, get into the program. We currently have a small waiting list, so we're trying to build capacity so we can take all students who qualify.
Thank you.
Sarah?
As somebody who likes to look at charts and graphs all day, those were exceptional. You guys did a wonderful job.
All right, any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you, Lacey, for all the work on this and all the information. Greatly appreciated. All right, next item, public comment on non-agenda items. All right, if you can sit right there, and then if you want to fill out your name, I'll read this little blurb right here. There should be yep, and then when I tell you to go ahead, the button on the right when you're looking at it, if you just push that once and let up. All right, this portion of the meeting, when the board invites committee members to make brief comments on any matter not included in the agenda. Public matters do not include any impeding legal matters, private personnel, or private student issues. No members of the public will be allowed to comment on contested cases, other adjudicative proceedings, or personnel matters. We ask you that you keep your comments within 2 minutes time limit and offer civil, respectful comments to the board. The board will not engage citizens during this time as topics presented are not on tonight's agenda and therefore have not been noticed to the public. Before you begin, please state your name, write down your name and address on the clipboard, and then make your comments. A timer will be started in fairness to all who speak. Please finish within the 2 minutes. But since you're the only one, maybe 2 or minutes more. Okay. All right. It will go green. So I think the one on the right.
I don't know my directions. My name is Medora. I'm a senior at Montana State University, and I wanted to comment on the work being done in this district to support equitable education for MLEO students. So although it was on the agenda, it's sort of, I was planning to talk anyway before I was aware it was on the agenda. So I just wanted to call to attention the need for further resources to support these students. Having volunteered through Bienvenidos a Bozeman and the service learning course offered at Montana State University, I believe in the importance of uplifting all students through accommodating their difference, regardless of language level. So seeing as the Montana State Constitution carries a goal of a system of education which will develop the full potential of each student, I think it is important to first recognize the work already being done in this district, which was very well talked about today. The Evolving Long-Range Strategic Plan, first adopted in 2007 in the 2025 report, highlights the recent hire of 3 additional staff to serve these students, which brings the number of staff that works with this student population of about 569 students up to 10, which compensates for the high increase of students that this district is seeing who have needs beyond the average classroom. I believe it is important to further plan for an influx of multilingual English learning students that have diverse language needs within the district, having observed the current upward trend. I propose that the district create a goal of eventually having at least 1 ELA instructor or language coach in each of their schools, who are then supported by the 3 program coordinators across the district to create cohesion in that education. Research shows that English learning students are usually consolidated together in a classroom and only given around 30 minutes of ESL instruction per day, and then put into classrooms with teachers who may not be able to provide a uniquely tailored instruction to their individual levels of English and other subjects. So by having an MLEL coordinator in each school, these students would be able to receive instruction that's more closely tailored to their personal level of education. Reserving space in the budget for full-time pay of additional staff may cause strain on a pre-existing education budget deficit, but ultimately results in further equitable education overall, which is a main goal of BSC 7. Since only around $29,000 in federal funding through Title III supports education program for these students, and I think around less than $100 per student, which was discussed earlier, the rest of the financial obligation falls to the district to allocate money from their budget to pay for these proposed additional staff. I'm proposing a long-term goal in order to provide time to either rework the budget or find outside additional sources to support these students. So in summary, I'm proposing a goal implementation of having an ELA or language coach instructor full-time in each school within the next 10 years in order to better accommodate the influx of MLEL students in the Valley. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. Thank you for your time. I'm glad you sat through our meeting.
Thank you.
Any other comment? Reports, Executive Cabinet.
Chair Black, I've got some information to share with you. Property tax bills are available online. Ours haven't actually hit our mailbox yet, but dug into my own, wanted to share some results with you, some good news, I think, overall, and then certainly also on behalf of the district. So I'm going to walk you through my property tax bill on my property and let you kind of know what you can expect. The black line is our property value. This dates back to pre-pandemic. I picked 1920 as a start year for this graph. You see the stair-step pattern up, that's the reappraisal years. The steps up are reappraisal years. Flat part is the non-reappraisal years, reappraisal year. This year, my property increased from 561,000 to 564,000. So not much of an increase this year. We were pretty flat, I think, overall in Gallatin County. Overall, my property value went up 96%, which on a percent basis is not an uncommon number for what we've seen here in the Gallatin Valley the last 7 years. The colored bars are my actual total property taxes paid. And you can see a significant increase, including 23, 24, and then 24, 25. This year, the legislature implemented two bills as they were leaving Helena, Senate Bill 542 and House Bill 231, to provide residential property tax relief. And you can see from this information up here that was hugely successful. My property taxes on my place dropped from just short of $3,000 to just short of $4,000 to just short of $3,000. So a 25% decrease in my property taxes overall. If you see a legislator, thank them for this. This is a long time coming in Montana, and we're grateful for their work to get this done. The next slide breaks down those, what we kind of did is took the orange bars, the total property taxes, broke it down by taxing jurisdiction. I'm going to take a couple minutes and walk through this information for you here. Gallatin County taxes, I live within the city limits, so I should tell you that that's an important thing. If you walk outside of the city limits, your taxes are going to look different than they do in the city limits. But if you live within the city limits, your proportions are going to be the same. Amounts will value based on your property value. Blue represents Gallatin County taxes. Red is the city of Bozeman. The green portions up there represent all taxes that go to support K through college education, including the 95 mills, the six statewide university mills there. I don't know what kind of green that is. There's a dark green, there's a bright green, and then there's a, what? Kelly green. That represents the Bozeman School District piece. Currently for this year, if you live within the city of Bozeman, the Bozeman School District taxes represent 28% of your tax bill. Those education taxes, all of the greens combined represent 51% of your taxes. One of the things on here you'll notice is that Bozeman School District for years and years was the largest taxing jurisdiction within the city. That's no longer the case. 2022-23, the city kind of grabbed that dubious distinction from us, and they're the largest taxing jurisdiction within the city of Bozeman. Also, the city and county special assessments up there, those have increased pretty significantly. Those are mostly tree, open space, and street maintenance levies, mostly for the city. The next slide I want to call your attention to is just the percent change since the start of this graph. Some pretty important information for us to know, I think, as we walk out of this room. You'll see increases for every taxing jurisdiction except the Bozeman School District. And if you look from 2019 to 2021, Bozeman Public School District taxes have actually gone down overall. That's tremendous news, especially as you think back to our community support of our levies. We've asked and received permission to increase our levy amounts pretty much every year over the course of this levy, or over the course of this chart, and still our taxes are actually down. We're the only taxing jurisdiction with a decrease overall, and I think that was really about it. Only one that's dropped. Oh, if you look back, I didn't go back that far, but property taxes on my house, Bozeman School District taxes are lower this year than they were every year since 2016-17. So almost 10 years since our taxes have been this low on my house. So I think that's good information to know. Just a conclusion slide up here. The property tax relief worked. The work that the legislature put in worked. Taxes, I think, for residential properties are going to be dropping pretty significantly. If you haven't received your bill, you will soon. We talked earlier this fall that even though our taxes went down on residential property, that doesn't mean overall taxes went down. There was a shift, a redistribution away from residential property onto large commercial property especially, and onto centrally assessed property. That's who's paying a larger share of school taxes than they were before. Especially beneficial to school taxes. Again, our taxes overall are negative from the last almost 10 years. Take a look at your own tax bill when you get this. Every year the Gallatin County Treasurer does a great job of building some pie graphs out for you and seeing where your money's going. But take a minute and hold it up next to last year's tax bill as well, so you can see the changes. I think that's an important information for us to understand and communicate. So I encourage you to do that. I'd be happy to help you if you have questions. I can make a graph like this pretty quick for most anyone here. And then communication. I think the goal isn't to throw any other taxing jurisdiction under the bus. That's not what this is about. But at the same time, I do think we have something to celebrate here, and I do think we have a message to share. So we're talking about, I was looking at all the information online and all the comments and things about Belgrade's bond passing, and just the amount of misinformation, misunderstanding out there, I think is bigger than ever. So I feel like we've got a communication challenge in front of us always, but maybe even more so this year as we move into tax season. So happy to answer any questions for you. I'll conclude by telling you that the Montana Revenue Interim Committee meets on Wednesday. I'll be sharing this information with them at that point in time. They asked me to speak on behalf of schools, so I'll share a lot of this here. And then one step further than that, the next day, Thursday and Friday, School Funding Interim Commission meets in Helena. We won't be talking about taxes, but we'll be talking about lots of other good things as well as we move forward in that decennial study.
Mike, just for clarity on the SIDS that the city used to send out, the last 2 years they've had a significant shift. So that 888% increase, the city, instead of billing out all the SIDS, have moved that to the county tax bill. I noticed this, a couple of the SIDS that we've got now only have like maybe a light improvement district specifically. So that really, I mean, I don't know what I know it's gone up as well, but I think that's a part of that big increase for the SID piece of that, the 880, I think that's 88, maybe 86.
Yeah, it's a 6.
Okay, 86.
So it's a billing change. It's a billing methodology.
Maybe not 100%, but a big portion of it is, because I've noticed a couple that I've put in recently on commercial properties, is that the city SID bill is like $25 and it used to be $190. So
Good. Thanks.
portion of that is billing, yes.
Thanks.
Okay. Any questions for Mike or comments? All right, next.
Mike was talking about communication. I just want to give trustees update around some of the communication changes that we've made over time. So you should now be seeing we're into, I'm communicating weekly, but it's 1 week to staff, 1 week to parents. The staff is going out midweek instead of on Fridays, so you'll see those on alternating weeks. We've tried to, as I've been in schools more, tried to increase our social media presence primarily on Facebook and Instagram, and those also populate our website. And then the newsletter. The newsletter began as sort of a monthly endeavor and then went to a kind of a bi-monthly endeavor. And as we've had changes on central office and had to prioritize what we're doing, we're moving to a fall, winter, spring version of that newsletter that sort of corresponds with all the celebrations that the board does in here, fall, winter, and spring for different student groups and teachers. So that'll be coming out late November. And then the annual report, Waterman and I are talking about topics for the annual report. We think this tax idea is one of those items, but we have also noticed from OPI a later date each year that they make publicly available the student achievement data. Some of that is due to changing assessments, but it's not till Wednesday of this week, and we're mid-November or early November, that we're getting access to last year's data. So it typically around this time of the year, I'm bringing that annual report. I'm just letting you know it'll be coming to you in December because we're waiting on publicly available data. The other thing going on that I wanted to draw your attention to is we spent a lot of time with a staff well-being consensus group and unpacking the Panorama survey data, and it's that time of the year again. So we launched the Panorama staff survey at all the sites today. Principals are trying to carve out time for teachers and paraprofessional classified staff to take it during the school day so they don't have to do it on their own time. That window is open for 2 weeks, and then we will be able to share our data, and this will be the third time we've taken it. So we had fall and spring data last year, and we'll have fall data this fall. I think that's it. Chair Black.
Okay. Any questions, comments on that? Okay, all right, thank you. Next, board and trustees, any requests, calendar, anything for the good of the order? Trustee D.
I just wanted to say that I went to my liaison school highlight for Halloween, and watched their Halloween assembly and Halloween parade, and they had the Gallatin High dancers there leading them in the Monster Mash. So it was fun to see another side of the elementary school.
Leanna.
Yeah.
Sandy, go ahead.
Three of the trustees went to MCEL, and I will have to say that it's been a while since I've gone to almost every single one I went to. Every single one of them. I really learned a lot. There was a lot more variety this year, I thought, in the breakout sessions, and the speakers were wonderful. And so I just wanted to mention that. It was really it was worth a trip up to Helena. I don't know if you had anything to say.
Ayana?
Just to piggyback off of that, there were some really great sessions, and got to see some of our own Bozeman teachers and admin presenting, so that was really great. But there was also just I thought it was a really good discussion about our resolution, and it was well supported. So I was really happy to see that dialogue happen, and that it was voted on. And then I just also want to mention that I've been visiting our schools, and I went to CJ, and it's just really gratifying to see a new principal and just how it's going, and having those conversations with how that's happening there. And I went to their Veterans Assembly. That was every year I've been able to attend that. It's just a pretty amazing group of people and speakers and things. So I just appreciate that Ruben Gallego is taking the lead and putting that together.
Sarah, did you have something?
Yes. On the 21st of October, I had the opportunity to spend time at Whittier, and I spent about an hour and a half working with a teacher who was engaged with the science of reading, and got to do that firsthand with a bunch of first graders. So enjoyed that time at Whittier, and then that Friday, sorry, I have my notes, like all the good students do. Spent about an hour and a half at Meadowlark Elementary, and again, they put me in a first grade classroom, so they must feel that first grade is my people. So I spent more time hanging out with first graders, and then also had the opportunity, I spent time in 2 different first grade classrooms, and helped out at the kindergarten lunch.
Thank you. Melissa, do you have something?
I went to Sacagawea and participated in a 6th grade town hall meeting. And then I went to, I think, 3 math classes. And then Mike and I actually got to judge the 8th grade Halloween fashion show.
You guys were the celebrities?
We were the celebrities, and I dressed up as Danny Waldo.
So you are blue. All right. Any other reports? All right.
He was Mike Finvier.
Well, thank you for all the extra time and the reporting back on the things that you guys are doing in the schools. It's greatly appreciated. And with that being said, there will not be a second November meeting, so you'll have that day, that night, that evening off. So plan accordingly. I'll adjourn this meeting.